Welcome to Gaming Reddit Reader. Today we will dive into the insane stories on r/AmIWrong. Our first story comes from user Immediate Pride 3629 and it is titled, Would I Be Wrong to Interfere in a Workplace Romance? So I, 38 female, am the managing director of sales at the company I've worked at for nearly 15 years now. The industry I am in is niche, but very competitive. At my job there is a young girl, 23, who is a real prodigy. So much so that she was fast-tracked for promotion and leads her own sales team. I have sort of been her mentor for the past 2 years. We are very close and talk a lot, and I would consider us good friends beyond just work. Shortly after she first joined the team, she was at a networking event and was trying to land a client. The client got poached by another guy, 25, who worked for our main competitor. This guy is also a real prodigy, so much so that I had heard his name thrown around quite a lot for someone else so young. Well, at that event, after he poached her client, he bought her a drink to say sorry. And one thing led to another and she ended up cheating on her boyfriend of like 6 or so years with the guy. It was a real mess and led to the end of her relationship. This was at the end of 2022. Recently, it came to my attention that the guy had quit his last job after a bitter fallout with one of the managers there. I happened to know someone who was good friends with his mom, and sent word that I'd be interested in having him join the team. To put it blankly, I wanted him, knew he would be an asset, etc. So much so that I actually ended up having another friend give him legal advice about getting around his non-compete clause to join us, and fought with my boss who thought he wasn't worth the headache with the competitor. I did speak to my friend about this, and she assured me it would be no problem. He joined the team last month and has been a rock star. I did place him on her team, because I thought that is where he would thrive the most, and I was right. He has been great. The issue is this. We have very strict rules enforced by HR about relationships amongst coworkers. And they are sleeping together. She is his direct superior. If it got out, they may both be fired, she definitely would be. And the guy has a girlfriend. All it takes is one person to report them, and both their careers are up in smoke, and it could damage mine, as I knew about the conflict of interest prior to the hiring. But it was 2 years ago, and I thought she would be smarter than this. Me and her have been fighting about it. She is denying anything is happening, but I'm not stupid. They think they're discreet. They're not. They buy each other lunches, linger around each other, flirty glances, hushed conversations which end when someone comes close, loud laughter, etc. Today they got caught coming into work together by 2 other managers. One of them reported her. Another guy at work who lives in her building, who they are both friends with, is covering for them. He claims the guy stayed on his sofa and met her in the morning to go to work together. It is obviously bullshit. It's been less than a month rumors are flying and I've already had an email about it. It's only a matter of time before they get caught and we're all in shit. I tried to talk to her again this morning, but it got heated because she just will not admit to it. I'm trying to help her. I even said just stop seeing him for a few months and he will probably get a promotion and his own sales team, then they will be on the same level and it won't be as big of an issue. But she is just lying to my face, saying everything is innocent, that they're just friends, etc. I want to move him to a different sales team, but he has been so good in his current role that it would raise questions. So I'm not sure how to proceed. Because at work they are both very professional, work very well together, and do actually make a very good team. So for me to step in and change it up, I would need an excuse. I've been talking to my husband about it, but he says I'm wrong to worry so much and get involved. But I do care about both of these people, her especially. And as I was one of the main reasons she got her current role, a fuck up of this magnitude is going to reflect badly on me. Would I be wrong to interfere? Here is what Reddit had to say about this. Sometimes people have to learn how to be an adult only with severe consequences. Your employee let you down by fucking someone she was supervising. She could have come to you immediately before, or even after, and asked for your help. Instead, she chose to keep you in the dark and make a fucking fool out of you. Don't you dare feel responsible for her bullshit. She's not a child, and even if she were, you're not her mom. It's not only a matter of time before they get caught, they have been caught and you're in damage control now. I get that moving him isn't going to look great, but better to act late than never. Next time, act sooner. Well, then you've done your best. Someone will recognize his car at her place or something like that, and then there will be no way to change the course. You gave her fair warning. I hope including the fact she'll lose her job. She'll learn the hard way not to shit where she eats. Also be a good reference going forward. Someone will want her in a different state or country. She will have learned her lesson. Please cover her on getting another job out of town. Our next story comes from user GhostShoes001 and is titled, "Am I wrong for kicking my boyfriend out after finding out he's a homosexual?" I, 28 female, found this out about my boyfriend, 32 male, recently. For background, we have been together for a year. He has always been kind and loving. He had never been violent, nor abusive in any way, not even verbally. He has also never cheated on me. We have an active sex life. I work, and he does not. He cooks for me sometimes, and picks up the house in the evening, but also plays a lot of video games, and usually drinks a little more than half a bottle of wine in the evening. This was all fine with me. I make enough for both of us, and he is so kind and loving that it evens out in my opinion. Then a woman came into my work. I am a real estate agent, and saw a picture of myself and my boyfriend. She told me that she had been with him several years ago. She then said that he was the same with her, zero work, zero real contribution, just chilling out, being sweet, and drinking and playing video games. This seemed odd to me, but what really hit me was that she said that after she told him he had to leave, she saw him living in his car and hanging around high-end stores and cafes trying to meet women. Since I met him at a bookstore, this really hit home. I believe he basically conned me into believing that he is a normal guy, when really he is a user who just wants a place to live and a woman to be with for free. When I found this out, I spoke to him about it. He didn't deny it, but didn't admit it either. He didn't really even seem to care. He just kind of blew me off, but while assuring me he loves me and would always be there for me, etc. Like, honey, does my love for you dim based on who I was before we met? No, and it never will. When I told him it wasn't going to work out, I expected some kind of reaction, but all I got was more sweet nothings, and then he packed his bags and left. First, am I the asshole? Second, should I try to figure out if this is really his thing? Should I find out where he's living, see if it's really in his car, and if he really is following this pattern of trying to hook another well-off woman? Here is what Reddit had to say about this. I learned a new term today that I didn't know before. Hobosexual. My initial thought that it was a term used to denote a kink where the person has to have sex with homeless people. One of your boyfriend's exes just happened to waltz into your place of business? What are the odds? Oof. Incoming anecdotal story only slightly related to the topic. I had a friend message me last year and tell me she met someone just then at a big function with my same last name, very unique and rare name, and she asked him if we were related. He got really dodgy, so she texted me and asked the same thing. It was my ex-husband from 20 plus years ago. I never changed my name after the divorce, and it turns out he had moved back to my town. I don't live there anymore, but I did for 13 years, and though it's a city, everyone pretty much knows everyone of around the same age in the same alternative group. He only lived there for a year, but I'm pretty well known. I know from an ex-friend of his, now my friend, that he has been telling everyone he met, including his partners, for the last 20 years that his first wife died in a tragic accident for sympathy. Whatever. He's always been such a fraud. I texted her right back the story and she happily found him again and loudly announced something like, "Oh, I figured out who you are. You're my friend's ex-husband." She just clarified through text, "So I'm sorry I bothered you." She said the woman he was with looked like someone just slammed her ponytail in the door. Did she have a couple's picture in a vacant that she's listing? Or did this person show up at their firm? I mean, most real estate brokers I know work from home and their firm from time to time. Not sure how often OP stages vacant houses with her own couple's photos, but maybe more insight from OP would help. Were you happy before this person spoke to you? All that changed was your perception of him. His behavior was the same. One last question. If the tables were reversed, if he was the breadwinner and you were the stay-at-home partner/wine wife, would that be acceptable? Her response says he cooks sometimes, so true. He cleans up in the evenings. So that's every day at evening. A housewife is a mooch until she pops out a child to justify her existence, no? Let me phrase this way as someone who is a housewife. My bestie is also a housewife, just younger in the marriage. She have more days than I do where she doesn't want to cook. So they order out, 'cause the other partner can't cook. She also chooses to clean up before her husband comes home. Versus I'm a little germophobic. In the morning after I kicked my kids off to school with breakfast and lunch and before bed. She literally doesn't work or want to. Husband asked her to get a part-time. She didn't and started streaming. Didn't even be consistent with that as an attractive woman who had more than 50 subs when I force her to get on every other day. She now hasn't touched that only money source. When I learned to day trade last year, she was like, sure. I showed up and started taking notes. She drunk and scroll Instagram and YouTube. She has zero will to work and don't want to. She doesn't have to because the question of a relationship is, are you content being with them with what they have provided? What she brought is sex and moody maid service. Doesn't change the fact she loves the man she with or content to be with him. While he has his problems, he loves her. So the issue isn't is he a mooch, because housewives aren't as glorious as people think. They are leeches before kid is brought into the picture. It is she comfortable with someone contributing love and coming home knowing he is doing everything to display that? Which the OP was because the first opening express he was sweet. Our next story comes from user General Nushance and is titled, "Am I just being an emotional or pregnant jerk, or is my thoughts veiled?" Ladies and gents, and all in between. I just need some help navigating this. I'd appreciate it if someone tells me am I wrong and what I can do to navigate my feelings. I'm trying to be level-headed. So, I am 34 weeks pregnant and emotions are very high. My libido is high. Even though my self-esteem seems to have taken a huge hit. I'm just so uncomfortable in my body. Nothing about being this pregnant makes me feel appealing. For some context, my husband works all day and I'm on maternity leave. Being home alone with nothing to do but wait has me a bit bummed out. Feeling lonely. Even though my husband is super attentive and affectionate when he is home and we do our morning and evening run to chores on the farm and grocery shopping together, etc. I just noticed lately he hasn't been into me sexually. I just assumed he was tired from working, so I tried to ignore it. Well, last night I wanted to be intimate. I think it's emotionally important and bonding. I initiated oral to him, and then climbed up on his lap. He started bursting out laughing, presumably a nervous laugh, and wouldn't proceed, and climbed off and started crying. He explained how he is sorry, but being this pregnant makes him uncomfortable, as he doesn't like the idea of his penis being close to the baby. That's understandable, and I have no desire to make him uncomfortable. I feel like that's relatively normal. But before he could explain, I just assumed he was laughing at my appearance. It was abrupt and he couldn't catch his wind for at least 5 minutes. And when I got dressed and cried, he laughed more. Which led me to say I don't want to be here anymore, like I wanted to go for a drive and sleep in the other room. And I said if I'm that appalling then maybe he should just find someone else. I explained that all he did was make me feel like he's no longer interested in me over something I can't control, and it leaves me feeling like I'm just an ugly, worthless, unlovable creature. And that after birth probably won't magically be attracted to me either. He said that I took it the wrong way and was upset I suggested he find someone else. And that I shouldn't have said that because he has legitimacy to feel uncomfortable with his dick near a baby's face, in his words. I said that was valid, but he could have stopped me from ever initiating sex or told me forever ago. I said any time I'm in the mood that he doesn't have interest pleasing me without penetration. And that my needs are equally valid to maintain stability in a relationship and navigate stress and to connect intimately. And that I please him whenever he wants and don't bay an eye. And that laughing in my face was absolutely mortifying to me. I don't even feel comfortable sleeping naked next to him, or changing in the same room, etc. I feel awful. He tried to cuddle me and comfort me after this conversation, but I was so hurt I rolled away and put a fortress of pillows between us. Am I wrong for wanting intimacy and feeling unloved? I acknowledge that I'm likely wrong for jumping to suggesting him finding someone else. What can I possibly do to fix this? Or find middle ground? Or even cope through these feelings? Here is what Reddit had to say about this. I think he's a dummy. But you're using logic and science against an irrational ick, which I think is a little unfair. He might be a super dummy, but I'd bet he understands he's not literally getting up in the baby's face, but having his erect dick anywhere near a baby is the mental hurdle he's facing. Again, I think he's dumb and will come to regret this down the line when she's touched out and he's not getting any because she remembers this. But at the same time it's an irrational thing that logic probably won't help him control. This is hilarious. The last time my wife was pregnant, we were joking around one night and I bet her $200 I could put a dent in our kid's head. Needless to say, I lost the bet, lol. Worked out well for my wife. She was horny as fuck the entire pregnancy and just wanted to get smashed. So between me actively trying to dent the kid's head and her winning $200, all around, she said it was the best pregnancy she's had. The fear he is makes sense from the perspective of being completely biologically illiterate. That's okay, it's certainly not the end of the world as long as he doesn't cling to beliefs that don't make sense. A simple diagram should clear this up, unless he's long enough to be hitting your cervix, 8 to 9 inches. Obviously depends on genetics and a little bit your height. They're a good distance apart and there's a hard separation between the two even if he is big enough. I can kind of understand nervous laughter in an uncomfortable situation like that, but not 5 minutes of it that left him breathless. Seems a little odd. Also, pretty embarrassing behavior not being willing to provide pleasure without penetration. I'll never understand how someone can think this way and have it make sense in their head. All in all, I would say it sounds like he does probably love and care for you, but has pretty shit opinions and doesn't think much about how what he says comes across. Also a huge baby for not being up for fun that doesn't involve intercourse. He does need to meet you in the middle on this, but you probably also need to come to terms with the fact he doesn't seem to be malicious in his behavior, just stupid. You'll probably be able to cope a lot better once you realize that. Our last story is from user AdSerious2303 and is titled, "My Mom Acts Like My Brother Is My Son." I am 18 female. I feel bad saying this, but my mom, 34 female, often makes me feel like I'm the mother to her 7-year-old son, my brother. I am expected to make him breakfast every day. There isn't a day where she doesn't expect me to feed him. I even cook dinner and lunch. I have to help him with homework, reading, and chores. I want to enjoy life as a young adult, but I can't even do that. Every time I want to go out, she constantly reminds me I have a brother to look after like he's my son. It's hard because when she isn't home, he doesn't listen to me. He sees me like a maid because that's what he sees from his mom. His mom never corrects his behavior, and yesterday, when my brother hit me and I lectured him about it, she laughed with him about the situation. I'm so tired and want to get out this house, but part of me feels bad leaving. I feel like I'm leaving a lot for my mom to take care of. Am I in the wrong for wanting to leave, or am I just being too dramatic? I can't even tell if this behavior is normal because it's been this way since I was 10. I can't even get a job, by the way, she won't allow me. Calls me dramatic and selfish for even wanting one. She's admitted that she doesn't want me growing up or getting more freedom. She also won't allow me to drive. I can't do much because I live in a small town where the farthest stores are 30 minutes away. So I kinda need a car to get a job. I also was going to see family since my grandma paid for the ticket and my mom basically told me I couldn't go because I'm expected at home to care for my brother over the summer, so I can't even work this summer if I wanted to. Here is what Reddit had to say about this. Stop feeling bad. He is not your responsibility. Did you have sex? Get pregnant? Give birth? As a legal adult? If the answer to any of these is no, then you don't need to be looking after him. You deserve a childhood. Do any of your family members know about this? Can you maybe move to live with your grandmother until you find a job? Go live with your grandmother. Get a job, save for a car, and get some independence. Your mother brought your brother into the world. He is her responsibility. It's not. She has absolutely failed you both as a parent, and that is not your fault. It's not your responsibility to pick up the slack that she can't handle. If she couldn't handle raising 2 kids, she shouldn't have had 2. That's her problem, not yours. Look up parentification. It's abuse. Leave. Let mom deal with the life she chose. If she tries to say you have a brother to look after, say, no, you have a son to look after. Then walk out. She wants you to stay in service to her kid, not get a car, or job, or like. You are facilitating her life. A parent's job is to help facilitate yours. Get out of there, and if she cuts you off, fix it down the line when you have some life experience behind you. If you wait, you may be there until your brother is 18, and you'll have missed the most important years of your life. You're not a maid for your mother's choices. Live your life. OP, you are being parentified. That's toxic. If your mom needs help raising him, she can ask his father or his grandparents or hire a babysitter. I had the same issue with my mom and younger siblings. I was basically a parent to them both from age 9, and it didn't stop till I left. I tried bringing it up. I tried saying it was unfair. I even had an older siblings who did nothing round the house, no chores or anything. It was all my responsibility. I'd just get told life is unfair or her parents were stricter with her, and this was just part of being a family. It's not. It's bad parenting and lazy parenting from your mom. And it won't stop. 'Cause you're making her day-to-day life easier by picking up the slack and doing things she doesn't want to do or knows you'll do. It's totally unfair on you. At 18, you should be exploring the world, hanging out with your friends, enjoying those last teenage years while embracing the adult world before you have real consequences to deal with. My best advice is to leave. I don't know if you have other family you could stay with. Maybe start looking for a job if you don't already have one. Getting away is really your only way out of this. OP posted an update. So a bunch of people told me the type of abuse that was parentification, which now does make sense. To people who said to get a job, I can't. I can't drive, my mother would take my phone. I can't explain how bad it can be when she's upset, but it's bad and I rather follow what she says till I leave. So today I texted my aunt who has in the past wanted me to go with her. We talked and she said of course she would take me in. Agreed to help me follow a degree in criminal justice, learn to drive and get a job. She agreed that what my mom was doing was wrong. I graduate next month on the 17th and we both agreed my aunt would come for me May 25th, which is the day I'm leaving. I have no plan on telling my mom. I will pack my stuff silently and leave quietly. I'm trying to find my passport, but my mom has hidden it from me. Hopefully I do find it. Thank you to everyone's support. Hopefully the plan goes through and I do end up leaving. This is what Reddit had to say about OP's update. Good plan, best of luck to you. Get your birth certificate and social security card too. After you leave, she will try to guilt trip you into believing that terrible things are now happening because you aren't there to help. There's a very real chance that she will claim a major medical emergency for either herself or your brother. Do not fall for it. These are some textbook emotional manipulation tactics that people like her used to regain control. She's a grown-up who chose to have kids. She doesn't need her 17-year daughter taking care of everything for her. She's capable of doing it herself, but just wants to make you do it for her. Freeze your credit. This is one way she can try to mess up your life. Run a credit report as soon as you leave to make sure she hasn't used your SSN for anything, then freeze it. If she has used it, report it as fraud. You can unfreeze it when you need to. Get an IRS ID PIN for filing taxes so she can't claim you as a dependent next year. Report the passport as lost/stolen and apply for a new issue. In some countries, that can be cheaper than a whole new passport. It's also a way to go around the abuse. Good luck for the 25th. I hope everything goes well and that the next we hear is you've found freedom and are happier. Thank you for watching. If you haven't done so, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Until next time.